Today, I just want to give you the headlines because I think it's important for the overall picture. So I want to spend 20 minutes just to give you what has come out in the news in the last 3 days since we last met. Holy mother. So we have more information about Dashenko. He's the guy who was the source, if you will, for the Steele dossier. Okay, everything that happened, all this Russian, collusion, and Donald Trump has a really bad film from Russia that was made, and he's making it with prostitutes, et cetera, et cetera. All of that stuff, all of it now, we know was not only false, but we know now that the FBI knew that in 2017, had a pretty good idea in 2016. In 2017, they were very clear on it. They knew where it came from. And this guy is made into this Russian operative, and maybe he is, maybe he isn't. But he was at a liberal think tank. And he wasn't coming up with the stuff himself. He was being fed information from a Clinton supporter. Somebody was on her campaign staff. So he didn't get it from Russia. He gets it from this guy. All of this now lays right at the feet of Hillary Clinton. Was this a coup? You can make the case that this was a coup of sorts. They were trying to overthrow his presidency. If this was happening in any other country, we would say it was a failed state. When a major party can use the government apparatus and the media apparatus to smear and to build a case against an innocent guy just to thwart him. And they all knew. The Washington Post knew in either 17 or 2018. They knew, and yet they continued to win the Pulitzer. They continued the lies. Okay, so that happened. Oh, the FBI also is the victim in that one. I just want you to know. They say they were duped. Now, the FBI also went out and tried to find a lost diary this weekend. Now, this one, you helped me out. I was reading Jonathan Turley's opinion on this weekend, and he's right. This is an absolute over-the-line abuse of justice. And the FBI needs to be called into account from the Senate, from the House, and the people. You've already destroyed your credibility, FBI. Now, here's what happened. Do you remember a story about a year ago, I think, that there was a diary from Joe Biden's daughter? And in it, she had said that she had taken inappropriate showers with her father when she was young. She also said, and I don't think it says the abuser, but she also said she was abused sexually, I think by a family member, but it doesn't pin it on Joe Biden. So there was some sort of sexual problems going on, and there were showers with daddy. Also, in that diary, she talks about how she and the other children of the family resent dad so much because of the way he controls all of the money, which goes right to the Hunter laptop, which we now know is true. Well, they denied that this diary had anything like that. There was no, that's not true. All of this is just gobbledygook. Really? Well, the FBI broke into several members of the Project Veritas staff, their homes, this weekend, searching for anything related to the diary. Now, here's what happened with the diary. The diary, according to Project Veritas, was from an anonymous tipster that said, hey, this diary is here. It was left behind. Just go get it. Okay, well, all right. It would be really hard to believe that if that hadn't just happened.
With the Hunter Biden laptop.
Exactly right.
Maybe this is just something this family does.
Yes.
They leave really important documents
Correct.
in very strange places.
Okay, so they left the diary behind. Project Veritas goes and gets it. They do not publish the story because they can't verify that the diary is actually hers. Okay? So they turn it over to the police. Now, this is a year ago. And you might remember this story because it made just a little blip. Nobody in the mainstream media was willing to touch it. Well, now we know that the diary is real because the White House had the Justice Department and the FBI break down the doors of these people's houses on Saturday morning. And they were looking for anything related to that diary. Now, may I ask, what is the federal crime that would have been committed here with a diary? If my daughter loses her diary and it has bad things in it about me, is the FBI going to investigate and kick down the doors of maybe some boy in high school that took it from her? I don't think so. Since when is that a federal crime? Now, if it had things in it where I was abusing her and they needed that for evidence, I could see, but that's not what they were doing. So the FBI is completely out of control. The ATF also, we found out this weekend, has obtained 54 million gun records. 54 million gun records. Apparently, when any gun business goes out of business, they have to turn their records that are 20 years old. They can destroy them. The Fed now is taking the gun records and they're keeping them and they're digitizing them so you can run them for names. This is a federal registry now. They are going to, the small gun owners, gun shops are going to be forced out of business. Mark my words, they're all going to go out of business. And so every record that they have will be in the hands of the federal government. You tie this to the IRS spying on your bank account, they've got everything they need, should they decide to misuse it. But that would be crazy. We have the Rittenhouse trial that happened. I've got to go over with you today. It's astounding. The prosecution's case and the prosecution's witness, I don't know if the prosecution knows what that word means. You're not supposed to come up with things that exonerate the guy you're calling a bad guy, but that's what they did. They put two witnesses on that disproved the state's case. Why, in the wildest dreams of the prosecution, would you put these two guys on up as witnesses where they're like, no, that's not what happened? So now we know that the persecution of Kyle Rittenhouse is just that. They have nothing on this guy. Biden came out this weekend and he said, no. The payout thing, you remember that thing that I said was a garbage term? Do we still have that from last week? He was asked about, do we have, if we don't have it at our fingertips, no big deal, Sarah. He was asked, hey, what about paying 450,000 people, $450,000 to people who just came across our border during the Trump administration? and maybe up to $1 million. And he was very adamant. It's a garbage story. And Stu said, I think he's arguing about the $450,000.
The exact dollar amount, because the way he answers it, he's very specific and kind of looks at him and says, "You said $450,000 per person, right? $450,000 per person. That's garbage."
Okay. Well, he's obviously some medication makes him really, really angry at times because he just flew off the handle on Saturday when he was asked about this because the White House said, No. He was wrong. It is going through. They're going to settle these cases.
So they said it might not be $450,000.
Yeah. So here's what he said. Listen to this. What he said Saturday.
You said last week that this report about migrant families at the border getting payments was garbage.
No, I didn't say that. Let's get
Yes,
straight.
you did.
You said everybody coming across the border gets $450,000.
So the number was what you had a
The
problem.
number I was referring to.
Bing, bing, bing.
Now, here's the thing. If in fact,
Now listen to this.
because of the outrageous behavior of the last administration,
Which is the same
you
as yours and the guy
coming
before.
legal or illegal, and you lost your child. You lost your child. It's gone. You deserve some kind of compensation.
Okay, all right, good. So you lost your child. You lost your child. That guy is unstable. That is a really unstable reaction.
And he looks worse than that sounded if you're listening on radio.
That's a very unstable reaction. Okay, you lost your child. Not a good weekend for him to point that out because, the child that we all have seen pictures lifted over the fence in Kabul and given to American soldiers has been lost by the United States government.
We lost their child?
We lost their child. Now, we have said over the weekend, we're going to do everything we can to find them. Oh, okay, all right. So the child might be in Afghanistan, but most likely it's at one of 6 different countries. I'm sure you're not going to have a problem finding the infant. You lost your child. By the way, the mandate is not really now a mandate. The president has flown 70 secret flights into Florida. Inflation has grown between 50 and 200% in the last year because on food prices. Gas prices are going to go through the roof. That was the weekend. That was the weekend. The good news is this is all coming undone. It's coming undone quickly. Oh, by the way, they passed the reconciliation bill. So they passed the last stimulus package. It's important to understand why Omar and her people didn't vote for the bill. There's 2 reasons. One, because there's a lot of weasel Republicans in Congress that allowed them to do it. How do these people survive in a primary? These people need to be out next election, and we'll give you the list. But there's a bigger reason why they didn't vote for it. And it should tell you everything you know, and it ties all of these stories together. Okay, so when you look at all of these things, you see that the FBI has gone dark. You see the ATF is now obtaining gun records and digitizing them and making them permanent now. The IRS is spying. The mandate that's not really a mandate, but is a mandate. The payoff to people who came across the border from Biden because you lost your child. The 70 secret flights into Florida. The inflation of gasoline prices. I'm telling you, you're going to be paying $5 a gallon easy everywhere in the country by the end of this first term. When you look at all of these stories, what do they all have in common? They seem separate, but they're not. So let me tell you what happened to the reconciliation bill. Reconciliation bill passed, but none of the, Omars voted for it. None of the squad voted for it. Why? Because they said without the Build Back Better passage, if that bill doesn't pass, you have a key but no lock. They said they broke up the bills, and they broke up all the infrastructure and put half of it in one bill and the other half in the other bill. So it's a lock and key. So if you just pass the infrastructure bill, but not the Build Back Better bill, you can't get everything done that you want. I've been telling you for a while they're building it one piece at a time. Been telling you that. That's exactly what she just verified over the weekend. Now, how does that tie into all of this? Because everything is one piece. The IRS spying on your bank is part of the ATF getting all of the information on guns. The ability for the FBI to use secret courts to spy on political enemies is also all part of that. The secret flights into Florida, where they're not alerting anyone, 70 secret flights into Florida. These all are tied in to the destruction of America. That is their goal, make no mistake.